All right, here's a set of basic neuroaffective warm-ups you can do while standing. Simple things to just try to help you feel more balanced in your body, to start to feel some shifts and changes, and some autonomic discharge happening where the stress feelings kind of well up and let go instead of welling up, and turning into panic. So if for any reason you get panicky while you're doing this, well, stop the exercise, slow it down, modify. It's not always the right exercise for you. So go ahead and be standing and start with this. Breathe in, and while you breathe in, lift your arms. While you breathe out, lower them. Now you can't really see my arms while I'm doing this so much, but go ahead and lift and lower your arms even if you don't have a lot of space. If for some reason you're doing this in the car while parked or something, or at a red light, you can still do it, but you would just be sitting and lifting your arms like this, and it actually still works while you're sitting there holding the steering wheel waiting for your green light. But bring some attention into the muscles. Bring some attention into the feelings of the muscles while you do it. Breathing in, breathing out, just at a speed that's right for you. Keep doing this for a while. And when you've gotten plenty of air, go ahead and let it settle for a while before you take your next breath. Following the natural longing for breath that the body gives you. The whole idea here is to collaborate with the body system. You give a signal downward saying, yeah, I'm going to be lifting my arms and breathing, but then the body's going to keep giving signals upward, a lot of signals upward. And you're being able to pay attention and follow them, whether it's kind of this feeling of, ooh, I suddenly just want to stretch this way or that way, or whether it's something else. Following your body's cues, whether or not you always get it right or understand the body's cues right, the collaboration leads to greater relief, greater dynamic flow in the nervous system, greater interplay between your neocortical processes where you think about things and notice things consciously, and your subcortical processes that are rapid, networked, automatic, and very much connected and having interplay with what you think and what you consciously choose to focus on. So keep breathing. And in a moment, we'll just go to another exercise. And notice whenever you get little shivers or feelings of instability, don't ignore them. Just kind of notice them and get curious about them. Typically, the nervous system adjusts in expanding and contracting patterns, and sometimes you'll get this sort of tension or this tightness or this thing that starts to shake, or to get like your jaw might go unstable or your knees might go unstable. Don't worry about that. Just be curious about it instead of worried about it, because this is the maneuver the body does to move towards discharge and release. If you start getting emotionally unhinged, well, stop the exercise. But as long as you can tolerate it and stay curious, you're going to start getting some more relief out of it. Next exercise, you're going to lean from side to side, bend a knee. Just keep breathing, pump the bellows of the nervous system, and lean from side to side. Notice if there's something tight that kind of, as you notice it and you can relax it, go ahead and do that. The whole goal isn't necessarily relaxation, even though that's a wonderful byproduct of all of this and process. If you relax, you're doing it to allow for flow and movement. And sometimes what will happen is you'll relax one part of you and another part gets really unrelaxed. That's okay. You're stimulating flow, and you're working with the body here. So don't worry about this idea of, oh, I'm starting to relax and suddenly I'm starting to have some very unrelaxed feelings, a rise in blood pressure, a panic. As long as you don't have a medical condition that makes that really problematic, stay with it. Stay with it. As long as you can tolerate it well enough. The bilateral stimulation alone from the movements from side to side can do a lot for you when it comes to sort of just allowing for movement between parts of the nervous system, permeating some of the parts that are sometimes separated off and not able to give you relief. Breathe at a speed that's right for you, shifting from side to side. And next we'll do Levine's foghorn maneuver. So Levine, one of the things he really helped people a lot with when it comes to keeping sensations alive and moving, but keeping them from moving too fast, is the foghorn. You breathe in, we're going to hold it just a second, and we're going to make a voo sound on the way out. So breathe in. Here we go. Now, voo. Now let it settle. Notice the feelings in the body. If there were some feelings of stress and you've noticed where they are in the body, focus on them for a second and do this again. A lot of times this is a great maneuver to do when you're doing some processing. Things get a little hot and heavy and you're starting to find yourself feeling like you're spiraling out. This is a great way to slow it down. And also when a good feeling or some work you're doing on the inside seems to just be retreating, this is a great way to kind of bring it back and keep it moving. So here we go. Foghorn out. Sometimes it helps to have a nice strong v and a nice tight oo to allow for that pushing back and forth on the inside while you're making that tonal sound on the way out. One more time here. Breathe on in at your own speed now. All right, now we're going to do some real simple interoception, looking for spinal elongation. So the way this works is you're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, just pay attention to the feeling of gravity upon you. Okay, as your diaphragm moves while you're breathing out, and there's this upward flow of information. So what I'm going to ask you to do while you're breathing out, keep breathing, keep on breathing. As you breathe out, notice that feeling of the sort of upward cues. Make your best guess as to where your body wants you to move if it's not obvious. Again, collaboration's more important than getting it just right. So breathe in and at your own speed, and as you breathe out, pay attention to the cues for upward movement. Typically, your spine wants to move in this way or that. It either wants to give a sort of a gentle elongation and curvature, sometimes so subtle that an outward observer might not notice, and sometimes really noticeable. Sometimes you'll have a feeling to curl in or to stretch out. It's not uncommon for me sometimes when I'm working with people who have a lot of anxiety and stuff that they're not ready to talk about, for them to have more cues, ongoing cues from the body that sort of have a symbolic nature. For example, someone might start to sort of shrink down towards the floor and keep going and going and going until they're like, wow, I'm kind of surprised that my body wants me to go this low. And as we talk about it, they might have had times when they had to feel that they had to make themselves smaller and visible to get away from hard stuff. It's your body has implicit memory stored within it. A lot of priming responses, survival responses that sometimes just need to be watched and acknowledged as they relieve. And then a lot of times the psychological work or the cognitive work, the insight and the new meaning, a lot of times they come spontaneously on the heels of that. But we're starting with simple breathing in, breathing out, noticing the feeling of gravity upon you and noticing your body's response. Part of your body's strength comes from noticing that gravity is pushing down and pushing up in its own way, growing in the way it grows. And typically when you do this, if you're curious, your body will keep moving in different ways to end your adversarial relationship with gravity. A really capable body-mind psychotherapist, Risa Caparo, did a lot of work with this with people. She'd talk about ending your adversarial relationship with gravity, and that's what your body tends to do when you get mindful and you turn your attention inward, noticing your body's cues, or as she would definitely put it, your somatic intelligence becoming activated. So breathe. As you breathe out and notice the body's cues for how to move, especially the spine. And if you're actually getting a lot of tension and soreness and it'll feel better to sit down or lay down, go ahead and reposition yourself and continue the work of breathing. And as you breathe out, especially feeling your body, noticing its cues, and doing your best to collaborate with the upward flowing cues from the body. Noticing what the body tells you to do. If you've already done some body mind sort of work with yoga or some other energy modality, great. You'll probably have all sorts of cues that you'll notice for things to do. If you're not into that kind of thing, chances are your body will know what to do, and people will sometimes say, "Oh, that kind of looks like a yoga movement" or something like that. So do recognize that your body does have a lot of its innate intelligence, that as you consciously turn your attention to it with curiosity, with acceptance, with allowing the feelings to come and following them with your conscious curiosity, you'll be able to enjoy a lot of the relief that comes from that. And so what we'll do is we'll just end this short segment of warm-ups, and I hope you found these exercises useful.